Good morning. Welcome to your Sunday morning, early morning intuitive guidance. I had to take a minute to figure out which day it was. Leave home for a couple of days and the whole sense of time gets thrown off. So I'm back home. Welcome. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum here with some words of wisdom for your day. And today we have a chapter out of Outrageous Openness, Letting the Divine Take the Lead by Tosha Silver, and it is very relevant to all of the things that I was talking with my board members, peers with at this retreat. So not surprising to me, those messages tend to flow together, which helps us hang on to them better, right? Good morning, Peggy. Welcome. Glad you are here. When we have a chunk of messages that repeat, it's like memorization. It makes it easier for us to hang on to what the message actually is. So I'm excited for today's reading because it really does that for us. Good morning, Joe Neal. Welcome. Glad you are here. Hello, hello. So today's going to be a catch-up day. I came home to 6 screens full of emails. So my first run at them was getting rid of the ones that I didn't need to look at. Good morning, Cindy. Welcome. Glad you're here. So then I was down to the ones that I did need to look at. So I kind of clumped them together in chunks and worked my way through some stuff. Good morning, Gwen. Welcome. Glad you're here. So now I'm down to just a handful that I need to pay attention to. But that was an arduous little task, cleaning up. I said to my sister, why do we bother going away? When you come back and there's all the emails, at least snail mail. I only had 3 pieces to get through, and 2 of the 3 were junk. So, yay, right in the recycle bin they went. So, but that catch-up piece is kind of interesting. So today there's laundry and grocery shopping and meal prep and all the other fun things. We'll see what all I can get accomplished. Plus, I am most definitely taking the time to journal right after we are done. Good morning, Carolyn. Welcome, welcome. Because I can feel there's some stuff ready to be committed to the page and sorted through. Good morning, Abigail. I did an amazing reading for myself. Good morning, Tira. Welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. Glad you're here. Let me think of the name of it. It's the round card deck, and then the box is the octagonal shape. Good morning, Maureen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All kinds of fun people rolling in here today. This is good. Let me see if I can see it. Of course not. Gabrielle J. Maryhew. That's the author. Anywho, that deck. I did a 3-card. Well, no, it ended up being a 5 or 6 card reading for myself. Wild Harmonic, thank you. I should have called on you for that. Yes, you're my font of knowledge. So it was an amazing reading. It was a shadow reading, and the gist of it is you lay down a specific card, and the cards on both sides are 2 aspects of yourself that are now out of alignment with each other. And then after you read about those and get a sense of that misalignment, then you pull another shadow card, and that's the one that explains why they're out of alignment. And then you pull a card from the other chunk of the deck, which tells you how to get them back into alignment. And I was just astounded at the depth of that reading. So when I pull one card from that deck for us to have for a particular day, again, the Wild Harmonic deck, thank you, Cindy, that's a reading in isolation. But if you get the deck for yourself and you look at some of the various kinds of readings that you can do, they're just amazing. Oftentimes people will say to me, well, I don't know how to do this. I'm not a reader. You don't have to be a reader. All you do is go to the book, read that particular card, read the next card, think about it for a minute. I like to write the main pieces of the various cards in my journal. Then I can go back and look at the whole entry and go, oh, isn't that interesting? Didn't see that before. Didn't see how those two related. Didn't see the path that's opening up before me, etc., etc., etc. So that was just kind of an interesting reading. And part of what I want to do today, back to my journal, is I want to reread that stuff and do a deeper dive on it, because I think it will be helpful with some real life situations that are happening in my world. So, but for today, for us, we have outrageous openness, letting the divine take the lead, Tosha Silver. So, a couple of nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let your shoulders drop. In through the nose, out through the mouth, just wiggling off some of the night. In through the nose, out through the mouth, opening yourself to receiving this message. Yes, 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 this is a good book. So for those of you who have the book, we are on page 7. What if God were all of us? What if God were all of us? And that is something I truly believe. And like I said, it's something we were visiting at the retreat that we were at. And we had a short article by Charles Eisenstein where he was talking about his book, Climate, A New Story. Good morning, Mel. Welcome, welcome. And weaving that into our narrative, because we were in the process of rewriting our vision, our mission, and our values. And one of the women who takes this work, who is a staff member for Michigan Interfaith Power and Light, and goes around to various organizations and talks about what MIIPL does, was very excited about us doing this work. Good morning, Beth. Welcome. Because she said when she reads the old vision statement and mission statement, it's kind of like she can sense that we've grown beyond that. And so think about that. When you're working on stuff like that, what do I stand for? It's for this moment, for this period of time. You will grow past it. You will grow past it, which is why it's always good to revisit it periodically and go, nope, that doesn't hit the nail on the head anymore. I need to tweak this thing and bring it into my present state of being. So this is a piece that I would like to see all of us bringing into our present state of being. That idea that we are an inextricable part of the fabric, that we are a thread in that divine fabric, and that we are important in that fabric, as is everyone and everything else. And we cannot pull threads out of this fabric at the rate that we've been doing so without totally compromising the fabric, right? And that it isn't a tit for tat kind of thing, that, okay, so I kill off this animal, there's enough other animals. No, that particular animal had a very important part in the overall picture. One of the things was that in Eisenstein? I can't remember, might have been. The sheer diversity of insects that are gone now, and implications for everything, that these insects are now extinct. They play a huge role, even the ones we can't stand, like mosquitoes. The mosquitoes were terrible in one place where we went the other day, but we got to watch the dragonflies, the beautiful dragonflies, the symbol of transformation, buzzing around through the air, eating mosquitoes. So the mosquitoes served a purpose. Everything serves a purpose, even if we're not aware of that purpose. And think about that in terms of arrogance. We get to decide the value something has, and if we, the humans, can't perceive something else's value, it has no value. And the idea that commodifying things is even a thing. Yes, all of them have value, Cindy. All of them. I know. But move it up the whole food chain. So if we want to eliminate the ticks and fleas and roaches, Notice what happens when dictators take over. What do they begin to label the humans they don't like? Roaches, or some other less than desirable creature. They dehumanize them. Why? Because it makes it much easier to create the us versus them and to exterminate them, right? So one of the pieces that I think is so valuable about us valuing roaches simply because they exist is it knocks us out of that damaging loop of denigrating something, only looking at it through our human eyes and what commodified value it has for us, rather than this is a divine piece of God's creation that has a purpose, even if I can't see it, and even if them being in my life is an annoyance, an irritation, or whatever, I honor and value this creature simply because God created it, right? So here's our chapter, now that I'm done pontificating for a moment. Page 7, for those of you who have the book. What if God were all of us? And again, we know we're getting a fabulous chapter when there's 2 quotes at the beginning. Good morning, Mary. Good to see you here. Glad you're here. So the first quote is by Joan Osborne. What if God were one of us, just a stranger on the bus? Calls us to practice seeing God in everything, seeing the divine in everything. Everything. Like I said before, I have a friend who is a photographer, and there are many things in the world that bother her. Trapping animals being one of them. Trapping is big in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So she did some work with herself, a photography exercise that helped her work through some of that. How do you see beauty in things that you deem horrific, right? The more you can stretch your brain, it's not justifying that horror. It's let others camp. Okay, yes, you campaign for the snakes. Fabulous. I will also. And again, there's enough things for all of us to campaign for, which is fabulous. Help other people learn the value, the inherent, intrinsic value of things that usually we are afraid of, like snakes, or we don't value, like roaches, etc., right? Okay, so that was one. Joan Osborne, what if God were one of us, just a stranger on the bus, seeing the divine in everyone and everything? And then the other quote is from Walt Whitman. The sidewalks are littered with postcards from God, i.e. everything we come across is about God. So here it is. And again, if you don't like the God language, change it. Creator, the force that is, oneness, whatever word you like, whatever word concept works for you. Because like I've said a bazillion times, I don't do the old white-haired guy sitting on the cloud in judgment. That one doesn't work for me. So here's her story. I once was approached by one of those online companies that send out daily spiritual messages. You know the kind. Each day you'd get a pithy paragraph about peace or contentment or meditation. They were hunting for new writers and somehow found me. So their editor asked for some sample postings and I obliged. Soon I got back a rather agitated call. Excuse me, but what's with all the stories? She asked in a tense voice. We wanted snappy universal truths, big T, that people can relate to. Our organization is about God, not all these extraneous details. If you want to write for us, keep the personalities out. But I couldn't. I loved tales of the divine in regular life since I was a child. I obsessively collected them the way some people do rare wines or Barbies. Any story of a miracle or strange synchronicity held me captive. Over time, the divine and the mundane had become completely intertwined in my mind, one and the same. Think again about Thich Nhat Hanh's writings. Much of it was about the mundane. He talks about scrubbing dishes and how that is divine endeavor. So I've rethought dishwashing since reading that from him. Back to the story. So I answered, well, what if God is the story? What if the divine is constantly igniting roadside flares to get our attention? Good morning, Joe Bell. Glad you are here. What if there actually is a supreme organizing principle with a ribald and unbridled sense of humor? And what if we each have this ardent inner suitor who's writing us love letters every day that often go unopened? She said she had to go. Maybe just as well. Some spiritual groups believe that as we evolve, all the details of our individuality are buffed away into sanitized white light sameness. Any uniqueness is derided as ego. You see this where members mimic an idea of how to be spiritual. Personal style, language, and mannerisms are erased or punished. An eerie, jargon-slinging, one-size-fits-all Stepford seeker emerges. And the other road? Well, maybe it's the raucous celebration of God's diversity, just like in nature. The way a lush field of wildflowers bursts open every spring, each type different, colorful, and bedazzled. So I want you to close your eyes for a moment. I'll finish the reading in a minute, but I want you to close your eyes for a moment, not if you're driving. I want you to just take a nice deep breath. And when you exhale, I want you to imagine that wildflower meadow. And look at those flowers. Look at them with different eyes. So literally different eyes. I want you to close your right eye in your mind's eye as you're looking at this meadow of wildflowers and look energetically through the left eye. Just observe those flowers through the left eye. What do you notice through the left eye? Observing those flowers. Then I want you to close the left eye and open the right eye. Good morning, Robin. We are doing a little guided imagery. You're standing in a meadow of wildflowers, a riotously colored meadow of wildflowers. And again, now you're looking at them through your energetic right eye. What do you notice as you look at those wildflowers with your right eye compared to the left eye? What do you see that's different? What do you see that's the same? Is there a different appreciation, one eye from the other? Now I want you to open both of your spiritual eyes, look at that field of wildflowers, and I want you to home in on one particular wildflower. It might be one that's right close to your feet as you stand in that meadow. And just look at that one kind. And I see that we're getting some intrusive messages popping up. Just ignore those and I will erase them when I post the video. But just looking at that one flower. Now shift to another flower, a different kind. And notice that one. And a third one. And notice that one. And now I want you to kind of step back into your curious observer mode and observe the field as a whole. Now you've looked at some individual flowers. Now look again at that field as a whole through both of your spiritual intuitive eyes. And notice what you see. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So there's that raucous celebration of the divine, all that is. And that it isn't neat and tidy, all the flowers lined up in a row, all the different kinds segregated into their type. No, it's all together, right? So, just take a look at saints and mystics throughout history. Eccentric and unique as hell, the whole lot. Uninterested in following spiritual rule books, they were on fire to know the undiluted truth of their own souls. So one of the women who sits on Michigan Interfaith Power and Light is a Dominican sister. They are a riotous bunch. They are rabble-rousers. They probably give the Catholic Church apoplexy. They're so radical in the things that they believe. In fact, in their vision statement, there's a part in there, I'm paraphrasing here, that says they're so outraged at what's happening in the world they've been called to action. I loved that. They used the word outraged. And Kathy said when they first picked up that language, which I think she said was 2004, so 20 years ago, there was much debate about that word outraged. Some of the sisters wanted to sanitize that down a bit so as not to provoke. Others said, no, we need to be radical and we need to provoke. So they went with it. And every time in between when they've revisited their statement, the word outraged has stayed in there. I thought that was phenomenal. I thought that was just cool. Many lovers of Jesus admit he was a straight-talking rabble-rouser who might not have been let into most modern churches. But again, many faiths have sanitized him into something that he isn't, right? He wasn't. The Indian saint Zipruana lived on a pile of garbage, while the mystic Laleshwari wandered through the Calcutta streets half naked and mad with divine love. The Buddhist goddess Tara was born when a feisty princess was told by monks that she couldn't become enlightened as a woman. She proved them dead wrong and became a bodhisattva for all time. So what if the highest expression of the personal divine is you? Precisely as you are in this very moment, in all your full, authentic, and wounded glory. Just wondering. So think about that. What are the implications? What are the implications? If you are the divine expression of God, one facet of this gigantic gem that is the divine, what about that? What about that? And again, I'll go through and delete all these stupid messages that are popping in. But interesting juxtaposition too, isn't it? Can we see the divine in this person who's posting all of these stupid messages, inviting all of you to engage with them? Which you're not going to do, right? But can we see the divine in that? Can we see the divine in our garbage can? Can we see the divine in maybe someone who's experiencing homelessness? Can we see the divine in anything and everything? Attempting to hijack the chat, not going to be successful because we're not going there. We're not going there. So, your mission for today is I want you to spend some time looking at everyone and everything around you from that perspective of their divinity. Everyone and everything around you from that perspective of their divinity. And maybe you start with some easy things. So you look at a bird. Easy to see God's touch in a bird, right? Look at a tree, a flower, whatever. Then get a little more difficult. Maybe some of the family members you have who kind of agitate and poke and you have trouble communicating with them. See them as divine. Then let's do a really hard one. I want you to walk up to your mirror and see yourself as divine. Practice, play with it, have some fun with it. Let's see what you get. So have an awesome Sunday. I will see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.